Welcome to this week's Working Man Trader weekly trade review, and we're going to run through the trades that I did get to take this week while I was working. I didn't get in a lot, but I did get in a few. It was a red week, and yes, I'm going to show you when I had a losing week. Now, it wasn't very much, but it was still red nonetheless. And here is what it looks like. So let me bring up the screen. I had, like win rate was 72.73% win rate, but still that doesn't mean anything. Still red for the week. So just because you have a high win rate does not necessarily mean you have that you're always green, that you're going to have good return. But here's what happened on this week. You see, had a couple good days here. Today, I let one trade try to run, which is why I had a losing day. Usually I would have cut it off, but I was really going to try to let that trade run, and it didn't make it, but still. Yesterday, I did the same. I was trying to let this trade here run, and it just did not do it. It was a pre-market trade, and I should have been taking profits a little quicker than I did, but a lesson learned. That's what happens. But let's get into one of my better trades for this week, and actually the worst trade for the week. So, right here on NQ, as you see, we had this break of structure. We broke up, pulled back, got a good displacement up. We are compressed in here. So this kind of triggered that we could go long. And so I marked the top, as you see, and then we got to close over it. Confirmation on the 2-minute. And then we dumped, as you see. Now, I ended up closing out of this trade with that loss that I showed. And I really shouldn't have, because my actual stop was down here at the bottom of this candle, and I didn't ever let it get down there to it. So I exited the trade. It did come back down, to hit a little further to here, but it still didn't stop me out truly, because that's trade's still valid as long as the bottom of this displacement candle don't get broke. And then here, I'm at work at this point also, so I seen us get this candle come back up, and I thought, oh, we might actually go. And then when I watched this one just fly up, I got back in right here where I entered the first time and took profit at the very top of that wick, because this was the same, we had hit this area twice. So I took profit just before we hit that top of them wicks. But that was my worst. And then that was just kind of a recovered trade on those. Then over here on the 19th, let me find it. I had a couple pretty good trades on this also. This one here on NQ, if my memory serves me right, we had an SMT with this, because NQ went up and took this high, and so did ES. The only thing was ES did not take out the same liquidity that NQ did, so that gave me a bearish SMT. So I took a little bit aggressive entry on this. As soon as we broke below this bearish rejection candle, yeah, it is green, but this one right here, but it's still a bearish rejection candle because it closed away from that level, and we wicked up and took the liquidity. But so I entered here, took profits when we tapped this 8, and it was out. Then once again, you see here we got this. This was the New York Open, and we got a rejection candle out right here. This one here I called more of an indecision. We just have too much wicks on both sides, so that doesn't tell me anything. But when we rejected out of this supply zone right here, And we had, once we got that, and we got the next candle over here, let me zoom this in. But once we broke below this and I got a 1 minute close under, then I entered and then I took profit again at this 200. So those were two quick wins on the day there. And, you know, those were good trades. They weren't monster wins, but like I said, I'm just trying to hit base hits while I'm working, because over the course of a year or several years, all those base hits will add up for you. When you start trying to hit a home run every time, that is going to cost you big time when you don't have the trade go your way. So I just like to rely on getting a base hit and, keeping things there. I'm not trying to full port anything or do anything like that. And I trade stocks and options. And what? Let me find Tesla here. I believe it was yesterday. If I can find it. I don't know if I can find it. Well, so this morning on Tesla, you see when we opened overnight, we just kind of were in this range from right here, 351.62 down to 346, 347. Just call that 347 right there. But when we were in that range, then we had our 7 to 7:15 a.m. zone form, and we right here at 8:45, this candle, that rejection candle right there gave you a very big clue that you are getting ready to go up. That rejection candle, it rejected that zone, and once you broke over it, you could have entered and been good. As long as that doesn't get broke on the bottom, the trade is still good. I was gonna try to find right here. This was yesterday. Okay. On Tuesday night, I actually marked this zone out because on the 15-minute for stocks, you find a good zone like this in this area, and I just use this purple color for that. But on Tuesday evening, I marked that, or I'm sorry, Wednesday evening, I marked that. And yesterday, when we opened here Thursday, I seen yesterday morning when I got up, I seen this coming down, and I thought if we come out of this box, out of this zone that we're consolidating in, we have a chance to come down. And if we do, we're going to go to Wednesday's regular trading hour demand. And that's when all the institutional money's getting pushed. But, and it gave us a good signal. We came out, came back, retested, got this rejection candle out of that zone. And, you want to wait for confirmation for that. This would be too early to enter. I would enter right about in here. But you still could have took Tesla from 342.19 down to 339. So, a little over $3 a share move. And you actually had another entry for it again because, we broke structure down, we pulled back, retested the zone, got another rejection. So at that point, you could have waited for another confirmation and took it again for another from 345 down to 341.71. So, another $3. So you could have got a banger on Tesla twice yesterday, but that's just something I look for on stocks, 15-minute consolidation zones, and then wait for a breakout of them. But those were some things I seen this week. Like I said, it was a red week for me, but only by $142. For the month. Let me see if it'll load. My computer is acting slow today, but For the month, we're still up pretty good. We're doing all right on the monthly right here. You can see there. So just had a good first 2 weeks there and got some good trades in. This week here, I wasn't able to trade Sunday or Monday. I didn't see anything good there. So, but like this week, the trade on NQ the other day, I should have just let that run because it never really would have stopped me out. But I was in machinery at the time and not really able to see everything real clearly because I was on my iPad and my phone. But I should have just marked it and waited and trusted the setup because I would have not had that loss and I would have made a little bit of profit. But we're going to do that next week. We're going to try to continue waiting and making sure we're just sized down on some of the contracts and stuff. And that way we can let it work a little bit deeper if it needs to and not be so nervous and emotional when that drawdown comes. So, and then I think that's it. Just we're going to continue being patient, waiting on trades. We're not going to rush, and we're just going to keep things simple. Look for the setups that we know, and that's what I would tell you. Don't go chasing a whole bunch of strategies. I have a handful of different setups that I look for every day, and if I don't see them, I don't take a trade. And like you see here on my chart, on NQ, I have levels marked where I think profit targets would be, like on the 15-minute. I use that a lot on my day trading, and I'll mark those out and have that pre-marked for when I go to work. That way I am prepared and ready to go. But so that's it for the trade recap. Tomorrow we will go over Sunday. We will go over the market prep and get ready for Asia and get stocks ready for Monday. We'll mark out our supply demand zones and look at those and make sure that you understand what those really are. So thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe, and we will see everyone tomorrow.